Yes, I can hear you.
So the family with the poor little girl who was...
Fire happening right now.
Say that again?
Why is there a fire happening right now?
There are multiple fires that are taking place.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're the news though. You're supposed to know.
Well, I don't know how it started. We don't know how it started. There,
I think
winds.
it's all the gay people in LA.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
We got the...
unacceptable. Gina,
This has been a 48-hour nightmare for Southern California, the most destructive winter fires to ever hit the city of Los Angeles. And this is the cover of the New York Post. Hell A. Wow. I mean, that's I'm sure how it felt for firefighters and for our news crews, by the way, to be driving, and residents to be driving on some of these streets when you see fire on both sides of the road, and just everything it feels like in that moment is on fire.
It really does look like that in certain spots too, or it did at least, right? This is not a filter.
No.
It was this orange hue had just taken over. Unbelievable.
Here is a perspective that few people have witnessed. Our next guest flew into LAX after his United Airlines flight was rerouted and witnessed an aerial view of these catastrophic fires.
Mark Viniello is that passenger, joins us now. Mark, what's going through your mind when you look out your plane window and you see an absolute hellscape below?
You don't believe what you're seeing. I mean, how does anything prepare you for that view? I mean, it looked like we were flying over Mordor from Lord of the Rings. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, so we said that your flight was rerouted. First of all, where were you supposed to land? And were you aware that these fires were burning when you were on the plane? Or was the first time you learned about them when you were looking down and saw what we're seeing right now, what you recorded?
Well, we were supposed to fly into Hollywood Burbank Airport, but they rerouted us because of high winds. I believe the Burbank Airport has shorter runways. And you had heard that a fire had broken out. And, being a California resident for a few years, you're like, oh, damn it, another fire. And with the high winds, you think this is not going to be good. But you can't comprehend the impact until you see it. And when I opened my window and just casually looked out, I mean, my jaw hit the floor. And I was like, this is a bad one. This is really bad. And, I'm still just... can't believe what's happening. This is really a really bad one.
Go to Stu up in Skyfox right now.
Oh, look at this.
Let's see what this is.
This whole neighborhood.
This is what we were. Yeah, we knew this was here, and this is like the first chance that we're actually kind of getting a look at that real devastation. When they keep saying over 1,000 homes burned in the Palisades, this is one of those areas. This neighborhood, I would venture to say, probably 500, maybe more homes out there. As I just get wider and wider, you can see some of the homes still standing, but so many of them just flattened out here. We can bring the map back up here in just a moment, but this is off of Sunset near Alma Real Drive. That's going to be the general area, and that's also part of the downtown area there as well. But take a look at that. This is when you talk about a brush fire and you say, oh, there's some homes that have been destroyed, I never picture anything like this. This is just blocks after blocks after blocks of that neighborhood out here, and you can just see it just goes and goes and goes. And then sometimes there is, oddly enough, there's like a structure standing or maybe a garage standing. But for the most part, I would say every home in this neighborhood flattened due to the Palisades fire.
Meantime, I want to show you this. This is the front page of today's LA Times. Like 1,000 fires. Yeah, I mean, there is no better picture than that. There's no more emblematic picture than that. Just one of absolute terror. Across the Southern California, you have at least 5 people dead as a result of these fires. More than 2,000 structures burned, as Stu was showing us, a couple of hours ago.
Several congressional Republicans are pointing the finger at Democratic control of California at the state and local level, saying there is major mismanagement across the board. Well, we just heard that from Brian Claypool, and Steve Hilton lives in California as well. Fox News contributor Steve.
Harris, let's just take what Newsom said there head on. So, first of all, what is this guy doing? When confronted with the absolute disaster about water running out in the middle of this catastrophe, waving his arms around and saying the local folks are going to figure it out. You're in charge, not some random bystander. And let's talk about his point on politicization and what he does every time, for example, there's one of these dreadful mass shootings. Before the bodies are even buried, he and all the Democrats are in there blaming Republicans, demanding policy change. So yes, it is the time to show why this natural disaster, of course disasters happen, but they are made so much worse in places that are badly run. And there is nowhere worse run than California today after more than a decade of one-party rule. Yes, the water issue, exactly as President Trump was saying, and I've been arguing, we've been putting out policy papers on how to solve this problem month after month on the fire and forest management. That's all true. There's another aspect, Harris. We talk a lot. One of the most immediate points of crisis for people right now is this lack of insurance. We've talked about it a lot.
Yes.
That's also the result of Democrat policy. Why? Why are insurance companies pulling out of California? One, because of the elevated costs of rebuilding anything, thanks to all the regulations, the environmental regulations, the labor regulations, all of it massively increased the price and cost of building anything in California, making it so expensive. That's why they're pulling out. The second reason is artificial caps on the rates that insurance companies can charge, imposed by Democrat politicians in California. So every single aspect of this disaster, the long-term failures that made it so much worse, the short-term failures of the warning and the response and the crisis response in terms of people trying to put their lives back together, every single aspect of that has been made worse by Democrat policies, a combination of incompetence and ideological extremism. And that's why people who didn't realize it before, now right across this city and this state, understand we need change in California. That's what that's why I've been talking, for example, to faith leaders about how the faith community can step up right now in offering people help right now. Of course we need to do that. But if we don't also make the point about the serious, years-long failures that have caused the suffering in an unnecessary scale, on an unnecessary level, that could have been avoided, then we are failing in our responsibility right now.
I don't know if you can see it, these brand new live pictures now showing the devastation. I have likened this to the worst of hurricanes that had rain that I have ever covered as a journalist. But this had fire with 100-mile-an-hour winds.
And Harris, can I just make a point?
I'm so glad you called for faith. I've got to let you go. We'll come right back after this break. Stay close.
Thank you.